There's a moment, sometimes subtle, sometimes earth-shattering, when a man looks at his life and feels something is off. He can't quite put his finger on it, but things that once made sense suddenly seem like a carefully crafted illusion. The routines, the expectations, the way society tells him how to live. It's like waking up in the middle of a dream and realizing the world isn't what he thought it was. Maybe it's a sudden loss, a deep sense of dissatisfaction, or a strange moment of clarity in the middle of an ordinary day. Whatever triggers it, there's no going back. Once the veil starts to lift, everything around him takes on a different hue. Conversations feel shallow, the pursuit of money and status seems hollow, and the things he used to enjoy don't bring the same satisfaction. He starts noticing patterns, seeing contradictions in what people believe, and questioning the rules he once followed without a second thought. It's not paranoia, it's awareness. A shift is happening, and it's both exhilarating and terrifying. Most people ignore this feeling, numb themselves with distractions, and try to return to normal. But for those who listen, a new path begins to unfold. This is the beginning of something deeper, something life-changing. But awakening isn't just about seeing the illusion, it's about what comes next. And that's where the real challenge begins. Because once the truth starts unraveling, it doesn't stop. The beliefs that held everything together start to crack, and reality itself seems to slip through the fingers like sand. That's when a man faces his first real test. At first he tries to ignore it, tries to move forward as if nothing has changed. But reality starts crumbling before his eyes. Everything he once believed in, whether it's society, religion, or even his own identity, suddenly feels meaningless. What used to be comfortable now seems strange, distant, almost unreal. There's a sense of being out of place, like a stranger in his own life. And the more he tries to hold on to old certainties, the faster they slip away. The questions start creeping in, and no answer seems to fit. Who am I? Why am I here? What's the purpose of all this? The world keeps spinning as usual, but inside, something is breaking apart. The beliefs that once held everything together no longer make sense, and the search for meaning becomes unavoidable. Many call this an existential crisis, but in reality, it's the first step towards something far greater. The problem? This phase doesn't come without pain. Truth can be liberating, but first it destroys. It tears down everything that isn't real, everything built on illusion. And that destruction can be brutal. Friendships fade, passions lose their fire, and the sense of belonging disappears. He looks around and realizes he's alone in this process. But that loneliness isn't the end. It's the beginning of a journey that will change everything. And in this desperate search for answers, he steps into the next stage. The emptiness left behind by the crumbling of old beliefs pushes him into an insatiable hunger for truth. He dives into books, listens to spiritual teachers, and explores every philosophy that promises to make sense of this chaos. From meditation to ancient wisdom, even to conspiracy theories, anything that offers a glimpse beyond the illusion becomes an obsession. It feels like standing at the edge of a vast ocean, knowing there's something deeper beneath the surface, but unsure how to reach it. The excitement of discovery is real, but so is the overwhelming confusion of too many paths, too many voices, and no clear direction. This stage is thrilling, yet frustrating. Every new idea seems like the missing piece, only to reveal an even bigger puzzle. One day he believes he's found the ultimate truth. The next, he questions everything again. The mind expands, perspectives shift, but there's still no certainty. This is where many get stuck, collecting knowledge, but never turning it into wisdom. The more he learns, the more he realizes how little he actually knows. It's a paradox that can drive a man mad if he doesn't learn how to navigate it. But something begins to change. He notices strange coincidences, synchronicities that feel like messages. He starts seeing patterns, making connections he never noticed before. There's an underlying intelligence to life, a hidden rhythm guiding him even when he feels lost. And just as he starts to believe he's figuring things out, the journey takes an unexpected turn. Because real awakening doesn't come from gathering knowledge. It comes from losing everything that isn't true. And that's when the darkness begins to creep in. Then the storm hits. Just when he thought he was making progress, everything begins to fall apart. The friendships that once felt solid start to dissolve. The things he once found comfort in, his routines, his habits, even his dreams, no longer fit. It's as if life is tearing away everything that isn't truly him, leaving nothing but raw, painful truth. This stage isn't just about questioning the world. It's about facing the parts of himself he's been avoiding, and that can be terrifying. This is the moment where many turn back. The weight of loneliness, confusion, and despair becomes unbearable. Some numb themselves, trying to escape through distractions, work, entertainment, even addictions. But those who endure, who dare to sit in the discomfort, begin to realize something profound. This pain isn't punishment, it's purification. It's burning away illusions, false identities, and attachments that no longer serve him. And though it feels like he's losing everything, he's actually being stripped down to his most authentic self. The world looks different from here. Conversations feel meaningless, small talk unbearable. He doesn't fit into the life he once lived, but he hasn't yet found his new place. He's caught in the in-between, standing in the ruins of his old existence, unsure of what comes next. But here's the secret. This darkness isn't the end. It's a threshold. And on the other side of this collapse lies something he's never known before, peace. But to reach it, he has to do the hardest thing yet, surrender. At some point, the fight becomes exhausting. He spent so much energy trying to hold on to something, an identity, a belief, a sense of control, that he never realized the struggle itself was the problem. And then, something shifts. He stops resisting. He lets go of the need to have all the answers, the need to make sense of everything. For the first time, he allows life to unfold without trying to force it. And in that surrender, something incredible happens. Peace begins to replace the chaos. This is where the transformation begins. Without the constant battle between what was and what should be, he starts noticing how effortlessly life moves when he stops gripping it so tightly. Synchronicities appear more often. The right people show up at the right time. There's a flow to everything, and instead of swimming against it, he lets himself be carried. The mind, once desperate for certainty, begins to quiet. He realizes he never needed to control life, he only needed to trust it. The world hasn't changed, but the way he moves through it has. He no longer feels the urge to prove himself, to fit in, or to chase something outside of himself for fulfillment. He is enough as he is right here, right now. And that changes everything. But awakening isn't about escaping reality. It's about learning how to live fully awake within it. And that's where the final stage begins. The world is the same, but he is not. He walks through familiar streets, interacts with the same people, yet everything feels different. It's not about escaping reality or rejecting society. It's about seeing through it, understanding it, and choosing how to engage with it. He no longer reacts impulsively to the noise around him. The things that once triggered frustration or doubt now feel distant, like echoes from a past life. He moves with purpose, clarity, and a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who he truly is. But this stage isn't about isolation. True awakening isn't about disconnecting from life. It's about engaging with it fully, but from a place of awareness. He no longer seeks validation or approval because he doesn't need them. He is no longer a prisoner of his past, nor a slave to his fears. He lives each moment as it is, embracing both the beauty and the struggle without attachment. The paradox? By letting go of the need to control, he finally experiences true freedom. Yet the journey doesn't end here. There's no final destination, no ultimate enlightenment that signals completion. Awakening is a process, a constant unfolding. Some days he feels aligned and unstoppable. Others, he faces challenges that test his growth. But now, he understands something most don't. Life isn't happening to him, it's happening through him. And as he steps forward, there's only one question left to ask. Where is he on this path? Now he stands at a crossroads, looking back at the path that brought him here. Every struggle, every loss, every unanswered question, it all led to this moment. But awakening isn't about reaching a final stage, it's about embracing the journey itself. Some are still in the first phase, sensing that something is off but unsure what. Others are in the depths of the dark night, questioning if they'll ever feel whole again. And some have reached surrender, flowing with life instead of fighting against it. No matter where he is, there's no rush. The path unfolds exactly as it should. The question is, what comes next? Awakening is not a destination, it's a practice. The real challenge is integrating this awareness into everyday life. How does he bring presence into his work? How does he navigate relationships with those who haven't woken up yet? How does he stay true to himself in a world that rewards conformity? These are the next steps. Meditation, journaling, conscious reflection, these tools help keep him aligned. But the greatest lesson, to trust the process, to let go of fear, to stop searching for the perfect path and simply walk the one before him. No one can take this journey for him, but he doesn't have to walk it alone. Others are waking up too, feeling the same pull toward something deeper. And the more he steps into his truth, the more he becomes a guide for others, sometimes without even realizing it. The world may still be asleep, but he isn't, and that changes everything. If this message resonated, if something inside him stirred, then he knows. This journey is just beginning. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and let's continue this awakening together.